It's going to end up being, I think, a pretty rapid restoration compared to past storms, which is good because that helps with everything. When you're trying to clean up debris, when you're trying to get all this other stuff in order, to be able to have power and to be able to have those services makes a really big difference.
How do you think the governor is handling the situation after the hurricane?
Impeccably. I will tell you that the needs that have been met for us this time around are incredibly different than the last time. We have showers for people, we have laundry for people, the food, the supplies. It has been unbelievable what has happened here this time around.
But the notion that somehow if we just adopt, very left-wing policies at the federal level, that somehow we will not have hurricanes, that is a lie.
Just crazy. Yeah, I could
feel it.
I could see it. I don't even need to feel it. So the house is done.
Oh yeah.
Yanky Pollak here in Yankeetown, Florida. Earlier today, I got to ask Governor Ron DeSantis 2 questions about the hurricane and about how the federal government is handling it. You can check it out right here. Do you trust the federal government to help seeing what happened in Hawaii just a few weeks ago, in East Palestine a few months ago?
Look, I think the Maui is a total catastrophe, what happened there. And I don't think we have all the answers to that. I think we should have all the answers to that. It's interesting how incurious our corporate media is about what happened in Maui. I mean, I don't see them interviewing parents who can't find their kids, but we know there's a lot of people missing. So that was a total disaster, really, really heartbreaking to hear some of the stories, even though they're not being publicized. I think this situation is much different. I think that the state of Florida, we prepare for this stuff. We were prepared. We responded. And really what the federal government's role is just turning on programs that Congress has enacted over many, many years. And so it's basically serving as a checkbook to get people reimbursed for debris cleanup, to give people individual assistance. And so in that sense, I think that has been turned on. I anticipate that will go smoothly, but most of the nuts and bolts is done by our local communities and by the state of Florida, and that's really how it should be. Disaster response is really bottom up. It's bottom up. The people in the communities know when you're in Cedar Key and they're talking about evacuating in light of the storm, it's not the federal government doing it. It's not even the state government telling them. That's the local government saying, if you're in this zone, you're going to be susceptible to storm surge. It's time to evacuate. Now, people can make their decisions based on that or not, but I think that people who were in really significant harm's way of storm surge, by and large, heeded those warnings, and that's why we still have not had one single coastal fatality reported. There was one traffic fatality in Alachua County involving the storm that has been confirmed, but none on these other areas. And this was some major, major storm surge. And so you had that, you had the state managing and assisting, and that's really the bread and butter. The checkbook from the feds is great, and we're going to, whatever resources are available as the governor, I'm going to pull those levers to be able to help Floridians. But we're certainly not relying on the federal government to do the day-to-day heavy lifting. We're going to do that as Floridians, as people in the counties and municipalities, and of course at the state level.
Joe Biden and corporate media have been blaming climate change for the natural disasters and the hurricanes. What do you think about that?
Well, I think if you look, there was a storm that went on this almost exact track in 1896, and it had 125 mile an hour winds just like this one. If you look at the state of Florida, the most powerful hurricane we've ever had is actually, the anniversary is now. It's the Labor Day hurricane of 1935. It had 185 mile an hour sustained winds, the most powerful hurricane that's ever been made landfall in the state of Florida, probably in the United States, but certainly in the state of Florida. That ripped up parts of the Florida Keys. It killed hundreds of people. There were people that got caught up in the storm. Their clothes got ripped off their bodies. The wind was so strong. So I think the notion that somehow hurricanes are something new, that's just false. And we've got to stop politicizing the weather and stop politicizing natural disasters. We know from history there have been times where it's been very busy in Florida, late 40s, early 50s. You had a lot of hits of significant hurricanes. So I think sometimes people need to take a breath and get a little bit of perspective here. But the notion that somehow if we just adopt, very left-wing policies at the federal level, that somehow we will not have hurricanes, that is a lie. And that is people trying to take what's happened with different types of storms and use that as a pretext to advance their agenda on the backs of people that are suffering. And that's wrong, and we're not going to do that in the state of Florida. Thank you.
I also spoke with locals about the hurricane, how it affected them. How do you think the governor handled the hurricane?
I think he did fantastic. I think he deployed a lot of help, a lot of assistance. All I've seen is assistance. Red Cross, Publix, State Farm Insurance, like all of them were there immediately helping get stuff out of the house. Like they did incredible.
How do you think Governor DeSantis handled the hurricane?
So far, everything's gone pretty well. I know we've got a lot of supplies and everything. A lot of the residents and people that I've talked to are impressed with that part of it. And, the biggest concerns originally were power and then debris cleanup, and that seems to be in order, and there's, the plans in place, and they've worked real well or been in contact with our emergency operations center for the county. So I think everything that the governor's office done so far has been good, so it's been helpful.
Impeccably. I will tell you that the needs that have been met for us this time around are incredibly different than the last time. We have showers for people, we have laundry for people, the food, the supplies. It has been unbelievable what has happened here this time around.
We had about 46 inches inside, and so pretty much everything was ruined. And we've been in the process of taking it out, ripping out the sheetrock, and now I'm in the process of drying it out so we can go back and put it back together.
And how do you think the governor's response has been during this time?
Well, the governor, I think, has been one of the bright lights in the whole thing. We've had all kind of support down here that I have not seen before. FEMA, as I would expect, has been a little tardy and lacking. I think they've been in the area, but I haven't seen them do anything. But we've also been blessed not only by the governor mobilizing the resources he has, but we've had a tremendous turnout from faith-based non-governmental organizations that have come in with volunteer help, and they have been just a godsend helping us do the heavy lifting here.
Oh, you handled it great. Couldn't ask for a better governor. Had pretty much everything taken care of at the get-go. So you can see there's not a lot of people out with power, and people are getting fed supplies, which is great.
But this is probably the worst. I've been in this area since 1970, and this one came up the highest compared to any of the ones. The no-name storm was comparable in height.
What do you think about Joe Biden coming to Florida just up the road yesterday?
I have been busy tearing people's walls out. I wasn't even aware that that happened.
No winds this strong had hit this area in 100 years. Pray God it'll be another 100 years before this happens again.
Oh, Joe showed up in Gainesville? Oh, I don't think they got hit too bad, did they? What was he doing there? Getting lunch or what?
He was talking about climate change and why he hasn't been in East Palestine. He said he's too busy to go.
You said in March that you would go to East Palestine, Ohio. You came here. How come you haven't gone to East Palestine yet?
Well, I haven't had the occasion to go to East Palestine. There's a lot going on here, and I just haven't been able to break. I was thinking whether I'd go to East Palestine this week, but I then was reminded I've got to go literally around the world.
Well, I know he's a very busy fellow, and I think his basement would be the best place for him to stay, and we'll do fine out here without him. Thank you very much.
We came here in 2003, and it is absolutely the worst flooding. A lot of houses have marks from previous storms, and this one has blown by all of them.
Two locals took me to houses that have been flooded to show the destruction. You could see in this video, just crazy. Yeah, I could
feel it.
I could see it. I don't even need to feel it. So the house is done.
Oh yeah. She had the fridge here and the kitchen covered, and when it flooded, it tried to float up, and it was wedged in between the wall and completely ripped the cupboard out.
Wow.
It was,
So the fridge is out.
the fridge is out and junk.
Pots are clean.
Yeah.
Guess this is all gone as well. So I hope she had an insurance at least.
She did not.
Oof. Yeah, this is tough.
And she was just starting to remodel it. She got started with the bathroom.
Yeah, the bathroom is
Brand
beautiful.
new bathroom. Gone.
Yeah, the bathroom is nice, and this is
Yeah.
just another
And you
room.
can see, like, all that wasn't there. All the peeling of the crap, the floor,
Yeah, this is.
like,
Yeah, you could. I mean, it moved.
yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
far, but it definitely moved. It's not where it's supposed to be. You have like, I don't know, mountains to climb in this floor. It's crazy stuff. It's like, that's I guess another person's yard.
Yeah.
And you look at the house, you don't know much. You look into it, and it's just gone.
So,
Thank you for watching this video, and if you like this shirt, you could buy it at rebelnewsstore.com. Use code Yankeetown for 10% off.